Russia is a multicultural country consisting of 120 ethnicities, languages, and cultures. Although the majority of the population is Christian Orthodox, around 40% or 24 million of its inhabitants are Muslims. It is predicted to be the largest Muslim population in Europe. Diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Russia has reached its 70th year. In the economic sector, trade between the two countries has increased, although there's still room for improvement. The growth of halal industries in Russia is 15% annually, even in the midst of the country's sluggish economy.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You're back on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni. With me, Zakia Arfan, as your host. In this episode, we will discuss relation between Indonesia and Russia. Joining us as an expert in Sharia economy is Mas Gunawan Yasni himself. Assalamualaikum, Mas Gunawan.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
And President of the International Association of Islamic Business, Mr. Marat Kabayev, and His Excellency Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Republic of Indonesia to the Russian Federation, Mr. Muhammad Wahid Supriyadi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Pak Wahid, and also Mr. Yes, Mr. Kabayev, how are you?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, now Mr. Wahid, relation between Indonesia and Russia has been established for 70 years. Why do you think this relationship between the two countries is so strong?
Well, I think we have to be grateful to our first president, President Sukarno. I wrote a book actually about one chapter about Russia, where people in Russia still have a good memory, especially the elder generation, about President Sukarno. And then what I did during the last 4 years and 4 months is to encourage more people-to-people relation after we have a very stagnant relation during the New Order. What I did is organizing a festival in Indonesia in Moscow, and we has been successful in organizing 4 times, and we got a Muri record and also a good gesture from the government of Moscow to give us 16.5 hectare free for Indonesian festival. I think from there I noticed the spirit of our two countries, especially in people-to-people relations, is growing. I can quote that the Indonesian products has been becoming very popular, like coffee. Like last year, it was very encouraging that we had a surplus of 1.2 billion US dollar. So our product in the past was much more dominated by commodities, but now even high tech. We export Antasena tank boat, made in Banyuwangi to Russia. And also Tatarstan, Republic of Tatarstan, organize Kazan Summit every year. This year will fall on the 28th of July. And we participated for the first time. Interesting interest from both sides to encourage more on halal product. And Russia has around 24 million Muslims. So Russia is actually the home on the biggest Muslim country in the world, in Europe.
Okay, we should go to Mr. Marat Kabayev, perhaps.
Okay.
Mr. Ambassador, Pak Wahid said something about the halal product, about I would say, a Sharia economy. So what do you think, Mr. Marat Kabayev? Is the relationship between Russia and Indonesia is strong enough to inspired by Sharia economy, perhaps?
Yes, of course. I think there's a huge potential between our countries for developing cooperation between us. Russia's Muslim population is about more than 25 million people, and Indonesia is also a very big country with the most huge Muslim population. Despite the fact that we are far from each other, I think this is not a problem for us to strengthen business ties between our countries. Also, I think that Indonesia, being a Muslim country and having all halal resources, can penetrate to the Russian market, to the Russian halal market. market and become one of its leaders.
на российском рынке.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Kabayev, what do you think Sharia economy in Russia grew so significantly in 2019 at 15%, while the economic situation in the capital was at its lowest?
Ну, это, конечно...
Yes, you're right. In our country, Islamic economy is at a growth, and I think this is because of the fact that, as you know, in the Islamic economy, such elements as interest, unfair transactions, and uncertainty are forbidden. And our association, our Islamic Association of International Islamic Business, is making lots of efforts to promote and develop Sharia economic system in our country.
Okay. So,
Okay.
I think in some non-Muslim majority countries, such as Russia, the phenomena are almost the same. Islamic economy, I would say Sharia economy, of course, to make it more polite, Sharia economy, are growing there in the non-Muslim majority countries. I mean, even in the non-Muslim majority countries such as Russia, with the 24-25 million people, the number of the people who are really interested in implementing the Sharia economy is there. So what about Indonesia? We have like 220 million people. So this is a very, I would say, not just a potential, but also we call it a real deals, or real things to be developed around the world. Yes.
Okay. We will continue our discussion, Mas Gunawan, and we will back after the break. Stay with us on Sharia Economy Talk with Gunawan Yasni. You're still on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni. Let's continue our discussion. Pak Wahid, what has been achieved in these 70 years of relations between the two countries, Indonesia and Russia?
Well, many, maybe I cannot explain all about our achievements. I think I need to explain a bit about the development of Islamic business between Indonesia and Russia. Despite the fact that the number of Muslims, 75 million, but that is, I think, the whole Muslim population of Malaysia. So it's a big number. And they have very good united organization called the International Association of Islamic Business, led by Brother Marat. And for a long time, they want to have a counterpart with Indonesia. I tried to do the Google searching, there are so many associations of Islamic business in Indonesia, but mostly unrelated one another. And then in spite on his idea, I will, together with a friend from Nahdlatul Ulama, initiated the Association of Islamic Business of Indonesia, which Muslim business in Indonesia. Although legally we are still waiting from the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, but the first meeting was attended by, I think, to our surprise, more than 50 people, mostly from the big business owned by Muslim community. It doesn't mean that we will only do business with Muslim people, but even during our Prophet Muhammad, he already also did trading with different kind of religions. So and I can assure you that the first MOU will be signed between us, International Islamic of ASEAN Business of Russia. And we try not to map out the potentials, what we need from Russia and what Russia needs from us. So trading should be two-way traffic. I think this is what we would like to encourage. For example, Russia now is the biggest producer of wheat, and we need huge quality of wheat. We import around at least 12 million ton of wheat every year, and only a small number from Russia. But now the number is growing, and a lot of cheaper from Russia. Also, we need phosphate for the fertilizer companies. Russia produces one of the best. On the other side, Russia still needs palm oil from Indonesia, and I'm very happy that last year, 2020, there's been an increase of about 6% of our export of palm oil to around $700 million to Russia. This is one of our main market for palm oil, while we have problem in many Western countries. And also, Russia now import a lot of footwear, even batik already available. If you go to Marks & Spencer, and I saw myself, and the batik already went to Russia. So huge potential on both sides on the Sharia economy. Yeah. In 2019, for the first time, we participated at Kazan Summit. During the Kazan Summit, the Republic of Tatarstan, then one of the advanced republic, like state lah, negara bagian, state in Russia, organized halal expo. And for the first time, we participated, and there were 7 companies, all with halal products, including food, snacks and noodles, and then fashion, attended by our famous designer, and also cosmetic, from Indonesia. The beginning, when I arrived in 2016, I was a bit awkward, to witness product expo in Russia. Every year they organize halal expo, and many of the business people who came to Russia, unfortunately not from Indonesia, even Japan export, cosmetic, halal cosmetic, Korea, South Korea, and then Japan, why not Indonesia? We are the biggest Muslim country in the world. I think from this starting point, we are very optimistic to work together with our brothers organization to pursue with the Islamic economy because we have our own potential.
Okay, Mr. Kabayev, how enthusiastic is Indonesia to penetrate the Russian halal industry market?
No doubt, halal market is a very good platform for cooperation between our countries, and I also want to emphasize that this sector does not consist of haram elements, and there are many possibilities for making cooperation and penetrating the market. And I would like to tell you, as Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Wahid Supriyadi said, in Kazakh City, there is an event that is held annually, the International Economic Summit between Russia and the Islamic world, also called the Kazakh Summit, and since Indonesia has always taken an active part in our event and our association, as key organizer of this event this year, I would like to invite our brothers and sisters from Indonesia to take part in the summit, and as I have mentioned, there are many possibilities here in our market, and Indonesia can and has to penetrate our halal market and use all the chances and all possibilities.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, that is interesting.
Okay, we will take a break again and continue our discussion. So please stay with us on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni.
In 2019, for the first time, Indonesia participated in the International Economic Summit, Russia Islamic World, Kazan Summit 2019. Tatarstan is a region in the Russian Federation which has a Muslim population as its majority and has a fast economic growth. It is also one of the most developed regions in Russia. Indonesia's participation in the summit was to expand Indonesia's halal products in Russia, of which 25 million are Muslims.
You're still on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni. We are discussing trade relations between Indonesia and Russia in Islamic or Sharia economy. And Pak Wahid, how was the establishment of Sharia economic community in Russia strengthened trade relation between our two countries, especially in small and medium enterprises and halal industries?
Yeah, I think in a way Russia now is waking up. I think they're also aware that they have a big Muslim community. They try to work together with Muslim countries, including a member of OIC. As mentioned by my brother, that every year the Republic of Tatarstan, this is the state that majority of the population are Muslim, and they are the most active in organizing an Islamic event, the biggest I think in Russia. It's called Kazan Summit, that we participated in. And actually this year they do half offline, half online. And we are already notified in the event, and we already distribute some information about that invitation to Indonesian business community. And thanks God, Alhamdulillah, today, this evening, the Indonesian Embassy is organizing a Zoom meeting with those who are interested. I was told 11 companies are already registered to take part in Kazan Summit. And I know that almost half of them actually consist of small and medium enterprises. As I mentioned before, during the Indonesian Festival, we also invited around 60 to 70 small and medium enterprises. And they have been doing well, especially including fashion. We have to convince that this year also we will do the same thing in Kazan. And the response is very positive. Like those clothes worn by the models are sold out during the day. So it means that they can adjust with the market needs or market values or local market. And I think that doing well on this case. So we encourage more SMEs, especially we are very strong in fashion and also snacks, like crackers, Krupok crackers, not very popular because of our festival in Moscow. People in Russia, they like crackers, and even now you can find in many Asian market in Russia. So from this point, I'm very optimistic that the development of Syariah economy between the two countries will be growing in years to come.
Mr. Ambassador, Pak Wahid Supriyadi, I would like to ask you about the Masyarakat Ekonomi Syariah. I would call it the simply Sharia economy community. I happen to be one of the international coordinator for this Sharia economy community. So I just knew that recently what we call it the Office of Sharia Economy Community or Masyarakat Ekonomi Syariah was established in Russia. So how do you think about that, and how would it be effective to enhance more the relationship in Sharia economy between Indonesia and Russia, Mr. Ambassador?
My brother will explain more about this, but from my viewpoint, this indicates that Russia is aware of the market of economic Sharia all over the world, and we know that Indonesia is the biggest country with biggest population. It is now very easy. I think the last 3 years or 4 years, it's very easy now in Moscow, in other cities, to find halal food. Even 5-star restaurant in Russia, in Moscow, for example, sell only halal food, and the customer not only coming from the Muslim communities, they also from the locals, because they know that halal food is very healthy. So this is a big development in Russia, and also the fastest growing of religion in Russia is actually Islam. If in 1999, during Yeltsin era, there were only 840 mosques. Now, more than 8,000 mosques established around Russia, and every time the Grand Mufti of the Moscow Grand Mosque organized, the opening of new mosques in surrounding Moscow, I was always invited, and I was asked to make a speech. And surprisingly, it is very similar with those in Indonesia. When they open a new mosque, they also invite other religious communities, especially from Orthodox. The Orthodox is the biggest religion in terms of the followers in Russia, and there's been good tolerance between those two big religions in Russia.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kabayev. Mr. Kabayev, what is the role of the International Association of Islamic Business in expanding the halal market and the development of Sharia or Islamic economics in Russia?
Yes, our association is actually trying to develop the halal market and the Sharia economic system in the Russian Federation and outside the Federation. And our association that has 20 offices around the world, and thus we are trying to show what Sharia economic is and what halal market is to the world. And we also want to open our office in Indonesia, and we will be very glad to cooperate with our brother Wahid Supriyadi on this issue. And also we help our Russia companies and enterprises making and producing halal food and products to expand our halal market. And I think that all of us, we should stick to our Prophet Muhammad's guidance in this issue, and also we should stick to the Holy Quran.
All right, and we will continue our discussion, and we will back after the break. You're still on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni, Mas Gunawan. I want to know more about Sharia Economy Community, the one that Pak Wahid explained before. But from your perspective, especially you are the international coordinator for Sharia Economy Community.
Well, I would say the representative office of the Sharia economic community of Russia is just recently established in 2020.
Okay.
And I was appointed by the chairman of the Sharia economic community, which is the state-owned minister now, Mr. Erick Thohir, just this year, 2021. So I'm the international coordinator now, and I think we haven't got the opportunity to really put some inauguration on that representative office of the Sharia economic community in Russia. But I think as Pak Wahid mentioned, the emphasis for this Sharia economic community also on business to business interface as well as people to people interface. So this is in line with Pak Wahid has been doing in Russia when he was still the Indonesian ambassador there, and of course in line with what Mr. Marat Kabayev is doing now with the association. So that is my point of view. So we can really work together, the Sharia economic community as well as with the Mr. Marat Kabayev, and of course Pak Wahid Supriyadi, who has been very active and very well experienced everything about Russia.
Okay, Pak Wahid. So, what has the Russian government done to expand the market of Indonesian halal products besides inviting Indonesia to participate in the International Economic Summit, Russia Islamic World Kazan Summit?
Yeah. President Putin himself is very keen to develop trade relation investment with Indonesia, and this include the what we call economic peace Sharia. Yeah. We know that Russia also produce halal products, mostly meat, with their very experience in this, and they especially in the southern part of Russia, they produce a lot of beef and also goats, and also other food products. They're quite aware that Indonesia is good for halal products, and you may remember there is a YouTube that went viral, when one of the this minister told President Putin that we will export pork to Indonesia, and President Putin was laughing and saying that, look, Indonesia is the biggest Muslim country in the world, we can export halal products to Indonesia. So they got to work, and the trade commissioner here in their embassy in Jakarta also very active, and I met the Ambassador Ludmila, my good friend, and also the trade commissioner, and I told them that, look, we are still open to halal products, because we import a lot of beef and lamb, especially from Russia, from Brazil, from America, and why not from Russia, and the market is there. And the price is very, very competitive here. Meat basically in Indonesia is very expensive, and it's a luxurious product. And I think we will come on that. But of course, this is on business, scheme. So as you mentioned, Pak Gunawan said, it's basically business to business. And I'm very encouraged that the International Association of Islamic Business already told me that they want to go to Indonesia in October. In October there will be Trade Expo Indonesia. This is the biggest trade expo in Indonesia, and we invite our ambassadors all over the world to bring buyers and investors to Indonesia, and they will come, and our organization will be hosting them in Indonesia, and possibly we will organize like Syariah, economic trading with them, and we also now trying to open up with other countries with Muslim-based majority, like Turkey, like Iran, and also Emirates, where I was ambassador in Abu Dhabi before. So it's a huge potential for us to develop this Sharia economy.
Okay, and Mr. Kabayev, how does Russia build a Sharia-based business network with other Muslim countries, especially Indonesia?
Строится с огромным интересом.
Of course, Islamic countries, especially Indonesia, is a very interesting direction for us, for our country, and especially for our association. And as I have said before, we have representative offices in 20 countries, and usually we'll open our offices in foreign countries to build economic and business ties between our community and the community of foreign countries, especially Islamic countries. And also, as has been mentioned, we organize different events like Islamic Sharia forums or seminars, summits, and then we invite experts and participants from different countries to share experience between us. And I would like to strongly say that with such great and powerful countries like Indonesia, we have a very big interest in building ties and education with Indonesia. And also, if everything will be good, we have plans to come to Indonesia and participate in a Trade Expo Asia. And also, this Asian region is very interesting for us. Brunei country, Malaysia, Singapore, and of course Indonesia. And in these last few days, we had meetings in Moscow with ASEAN ambassadors, and we had very warm, friendly talks with them, and then we discussed issues on how to strengthen and develop our business ties.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Kabayev. And we should take another break. Mas Gunawan, please stay with us on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni. You're still on Sharia Economic Talk with Gunawan Yasni. We are now almost at the end of our show. Let's finish our discussion, Mas Gunawan. Pak Wahid, after your tenure, do you suppose your successor will continue what you left behind, or do you suppose they will make a new policies that will revolutionize relations between Indonesia and Russia?
Yeah, well, actually, I keep in touch with my successor, Ambassador Jose Tavares. And only last week we had a Zoom meeting like this between me, Vice Minister, Mr. Mahendra Siregar, and Ambassador Tavares to continue what we have done in Russia. And our new ambassador expressed his willingness to continue what I've been doing, especially to encourage more business and trade relations between the two countries. You know, the potentials are very big, and I think this is a bit irony that Islam again can connect these two countries much closer. In my books, also I wrote in some articles, there is one history stating, in this include also in the Javanese old sculpture, Bapak Tanah Jawa, that actually Islam first came to Java was brought by Ibrahim Samarkand. Ibrahim from Samarkand, now Uzbekistan. And in the Javanese sculpture, it was called Ibrahim Asmarokondi. And he's the father of one of the 9 saints, Sunan Ampel. So actually the relation between Islam and in Russia and Indonesia has been long history. And that is, of course, there was a stagnancy during the Soviet Union, but now we can recover and we can now use this, Islamic community to give more flavor in our relations. So this is, I think, it's just not just a beginning, but we have to continue. And I got the guarantee from my successor, Ambassador Jose Tavares. Even under his leadership, now the embassy is preparing for the participation of business people from Indonesia during the next summit on the 28th of July. And we also, business to business, we have get in touch with Pak Farhad, who happened to be graduated from UI and Malang. You know, he speaks Bahasa Indonesia well. We keep in touch and we try to encourage on the interest of both business people, either visiting Russia or next visiting Indonesia in Jakarta.
So let me just ask Mr. Marat Kabayev. Mr. Marat Kabayev, how do you think of Indonesia's potentials, in becoming I would say one of the centers for the Sharia economics and finance in the world?
First of all, I would like to say that the Islamic economy system is a very important sector in the system for us as we are Muslims. And of course, we should make our best efforts to develop this system around the world. And I think that we should unite and that we should do our best in this job. And I want to give you examples of developing Islamic finance in the world. And one of those examples is Great Britain. And the Islamic finance system is very well developed in this country. Also, Malaysia. And I want to say Indonesia, being the most huge Muslim populated country and having a good Islamic financial system in the country, of course Indonesia can become the center for Islamic finance and take the leading position in the sector, and I'm sure, no doubt, Indonesia has potential for doing this. And from our side, we are ready to assist and help and develop all businesses, especially Islamic business ties with your country, inshallah.
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 Я бы хотел еще добавить, Фархад, извиняюсь.
And lastly, I want to add something. Our association that's organizing the Islamic Business and Finance Forum this year will be held in Grozny City in the Czech Republic, and this is our third forum, and the previous two forums we organized in Moscow in the Baluchistan region. And I would like to invite scholars and speakers from Indonesia to take part in our forum. We would like to know the experience and share our knowledge with them.
All right. Inshallah, brother. Inshallah, Mr. Marat Kabayev. So, I think I must conclude before you close the episode.
Yeah.
9 of the blessings out of 10 blessings are coming from, economic transaction, from trades. So I think in this Sharia economy, I think this is very logical for us to enhance our network, even with Russia, even with many other countries, in order to get these blessings. Because 9 out of 10 of the blessings are coming from the economic transaction as well as the trade. And I would say this is very important for Indonesia to bridge some gap in economic transaction with many other countries. If you would like to become one of the center for Sharia economics and finance in the world, there is no doubt that we have to connect with those countries, especially in economic transactions or in tradings, because 9 out of 10 are the blessings from it. Yes.
Okay, and we hope relationship between Indonesia and Russia will getting stronger.
Yes, of course. That is our hope for for the next term. For the next betterment. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mas Gunawan, and also thank you, Pak Muhammad Wahid Supriyadi and Mr. Marat Kabayev. Thank you. Spasibo.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Terima kasih.
You're most welcome. Jazakumullah khair.
And that was the discussion in this episode. Hopefully today's discussion was enlightening and informative to spur Indonesia's spirit in becoming the center of the world Sharia economy in the future. I, Zakia Arfan, and the entire crew bid you farewell. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Metro TV